Today I'm going to try to make a beer that I've never made before. It's an Australian sparkling ale. I never heard of this beer until I was just browsing the BJCP guidelines and trying to find something new to make. And I saw this and it sounded like something I would like to drink. Pretty light. It's like a commercial example is Cooper's Pale Ale out of Australia, and it just kind of seems like a really light pale ale. Some people have compared it to like a California Common, and I made my Kentucky Common a couple days ago, and that's one of my favorites that I make, so I should probably like this too. So the malt bill is like, you don't want any caramel flavors really, so we're going to do 5 pounds Pilsner, 5 pounds 2-row, and then just 3 ounces of caramel 60 to give it some color. The color is 5 SRM, so it's pretty light even with the caramel, and that's what we want. We don't want any, we want some malt flavor, but we don't want any sweetness from like caramel. All right, so I've got 5 pounds here already of 2-row, even though it says 12 pounds. And let's do my Pilsner and my caramel. And I forgot to mention, with my basically 10 pounds, 3 ounces of malt, we're going to get an original gravity of 1.049. So we're going to get about 4.9% ABV. Everything I've read says that you can use a pretty hard water profile for the Australian sparkling ale. So I went ahead and just used my tap water, run through a pure filter, and then I'm throwing in a Camden tablet so that it'll get all the chlorine out. And I used the pale ale water profile for it, but I decreased the gypsum a little bit, just kind of make it more balanced than a pale ale typically would be, because we don't want it to be super hoppy or bitter. We want the malt to come through. So I'm gonna throw in my water, 7 gallons. I'm gonna do a full water mash, so I'm gonna do 7 gallons with my 10 pounds of grain. So I've got my Camden tablets. They're potassium metabisulfite, and I just use my mortar and pestle to kind of crush them up because they don't dissolve great. If you just throw the whole pill in. I'm going to throw in my screen just to save myself from having to think about it. Alright, and I'm going to set my heat to let's go 154. So my strike water temperature is 154. I want my mash temp to be 152 for medium fermentability, and I'm going to do about a 45-minute mash. I'm going to go ahead and turn my pump on to recirculate the water and kind of get an even heat to it. Make sure your valves are always open. So for my water additions on this one, as I said, I am going to use basically a pale ale water profile, but decrease the gypsum so it's a little more balanced. And because I used my tap water, it's already got a bunch of stuff in it compared to the reverse osmosis water, which is pretty much stripped of everything. So I'm going to add a little bit less salts than I usually would. So we're going to do 1.5 grams of calcium chloride, 2.3 grams of Epsom salt, and 5 grams of gypsum. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and add my salts. Okay, so I've hit my strike water temperature, 154, so I'm going to mash in. Now I'm just going to take a quick pH and temperature reading of the actual mash. So my mash pH is reading 5.8 right now, so I think I might add a couple drops of lactic acid. And my temperature is reading 147, so that's pretty low. I'm actually going to crank my heat. So I'm going to add half a milliliter of lactic acid, and then turn on the pump to recirculate it and try to heat this mash back up. So the lactic acid did it. It's 5.5 now, so that's good. But we still need to raise our temp. So this is a 45-minute mash. I'm going to go ahead and set my timer, and around the 45-minute mark, I'll check my specific gravity, just make sure we're there. All right, so mash is done. It's been 45 minutes. I'm just going to check the specific gravity real quick. When I check my specific gravity, I like to mix it up because I'm doing brew in a bag. Like, there's a lot of liquid in here. So if you just get a top portion of it, you might not truly get a good reading. So my specific gravity looks like it is about 10.4 bricks. Just gonna open my Brewfather app and see exactly what that means. So 10.4 bricks means my specific gravity is 1.043. My pre-boil gravity was supposed to be 1.045, but I think I'm going to hit my targets fine. Usually I have a little bit more liquid in here than like my calculator anticipates. So I'm going to go ahead and pull my screen and let the wort drain down and then start my heat for my boil. This is always difficult because I'm very short and my stove is very tall. And wort is very heavy. If my ceiling wasn't made of cardboard and spackle, I would probably just create a pulley system for this, but my apartment was built in the 1940s and our drywall is basically just mud. So I'm gonna turn my temp up and just let it drain. I'm gonna set a timer for like 20 minutes to let this drain in, and then I'll partially cover the lid so it can heat up a little bit faster. Okay, my wort is boiling now, so I'm gonna set a timer for 45 minutes, and then all of our hops go in at the 15-minute mark. Okay, it's time for our first and only hop addition. So we've got our Ella and our Galaxy, a Werflock tablet, and it's all mixed around with some yeast nutrient in there. Okay, so my boil's over, and I'm gonna connect the plate chiller. So this one goes into the wort out, drapes in, and this one goes to the wort in. Turn on my faucet. And go ahead and turn on the pump. We're at 70 degrees now in here, so I'm gonna turn off my pump. I'm gonna go ahead and just drape this into the catalyst and turn the pump back on. Sanitize your, whatever you get your sample out of your wort from, because you can still infect it with just this. So my gravity is at 12 Brix. So 12 Brix is 1.050. My estimated original gravity was 1.049. So I did pretty well. I got a better yield than I thought I was going to, which is always nice to know. Let's just see what our volume ends up at. Oh. So for yeast for the Australian sparkling, it's recommended that you use a British yeast that's not super flocculating, which just means like the yeast doesn't drop out of suspension very easily. Of course, I tried to go get British 1 yeast from my local homebrew store, and they were out, so I got British 2, but then I came home to realize that British 2 is actually pretty highly flocculating. Also, when I got home, I realized the yeast that I bought was over a year old, which is insane. So I've made a starter here, and I don't know if this is actually going to work. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to get enough cell count to actually ferment my beer. It looks like, I can tell because of like the saran wrap is like expanding a little bit, that there's some yeast in it. But like I had the smack pack smacked yesterday for 12 hours and nothing happened. So I'm super concerned about this, but what I had in my refrigerator is some Irish yeast, Irish ale yeast that I used for my dry Irish stout. And I think this will actually be a pretty good like addition. I'm not going to completely discount the British yeast, but I'm going to add some Irish yeast to it. So what I'm doing now is I'm trying to decant the yeast from the, basically there's some trub in here and some beer in here. So I'm just going to try to separate the white yeast from this dark sludge in here. And then I'll pitch them together. And hopefully that will get me to my 4.9%. My final gravity is supposed to be, it's like 1.012. So I think we can get there. It's a low ABV beer, so I'm not super concerned about it, but I definitely don't want a stalled fermentation. So, Y yeast Irish ale, Y yeast British ale 2. And we will see how it turns out, but it should be fine. Okay, so I've got my catalyst fermenter here. I'm gonna get this beer in this one. So to prep it, I do a couple things. I'm gonna go ahead and sanitize the inside. I have just started using a Hudson sprayer to sanitize stuff with, and it makes everything so much easier and prevents hand cramps, and I have a mild case of carpal tunnel that it's actually helping with, so I don't have to pump over and over and over again. So I just let it sit on there for a second, and then I'm going to attach this mason jar to the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and sanitize that as well. I'm also going to sanitize underneath. So sanitize everything that beer is going to come in contact with, basically. I'm just going to stick this under here so we catch that sanitizer a little bit. Sanitize the rim. Alright. Don't tighten this too much if you do it, because once there's a ton of pressure on it, it's going to be like close to impossible to pull it off if you screw it on super tight. So just make it enough that it's not going to leak. Let me just leave it open. All right. So I've got my two yeasts here, British 2 and Irish, and I'm just going to sanitize the outside just in case, you never know. Pitch it right in. Don't forget to sanitize your lid. Okay, so boil's over. I'm going to connect the boil's over. I'm going to connect the plate chiller with the quick releases that are everywhere. We're at 70 degrees. So we're at 70 degrees.